Hello and welcome to Game Day Preview. Flex has decided to join us.
Had to turn up someday. Minimal sleep, but we keep it moving. We go.
What time did you get home last night?
About 3:30.
Honestly, this guy, he's up and down the country. I do respect it, I do. Let's have a chat about last night, though, because United were 1-0 down within 50 seconds. That must have rattled you quite hard.
Yeah.
Nottm with the goal. Obviously, it ended up being 2-2, but give me kind of like a brief overview of that game.
The best and worst of Manchester United in one game, and that's not being overly critical because we're going in the right direction and things are looking up for us. We just got shell-shocked, man. It's as simple as that. Sometimes you have to say you get that early, like all that anticipation for a boxing fight, and someone lands a big shot early on and they're wobbling and then they have to steady themselves.
Yeah.
It was that. 52 seconds in, we started sloppily. Leeds were on us. Bruno loses the ball. Good little interchange. Bang, 1-0. But what I liked was the response from that, actually. After that, it was all us. Garnacho having chances, Sabitzer having chances. And we could have gone in at 1-1. We were probing. And then you're thinking second half, right, more of the same, we'll get the equaliser. But we started the second half exactly how we started the first. And that led to us conceding another goal through an own goal this time. So you're 2-0 down at home to Leeds in a derby. They've got no manager. Talk about new manager bounce. There's no manager bounce. They're controlled by 3 guys.
And
one of them was I'm just being honest.
Okay.
I don't like Leeds, obviously.
Obviously.
It is what it is. But I respect how they played yesterday. But for us to come back and show that fighting spirit, considering we were 2-0 down, considering for us, and I'm not making too much excuses because the team was still good enough to beat Leeds, but whenever we miss Casemiro, it's just a big ask. No Eriksen. It was a new midfield pivot of Fred and Sabitzer, which just didn't work. Obviously, they don't know each other very well. They literally look like 2 individuals, which is understandable.
Were you impressed with Sabitzer, though?
He was okay. Yeah, he was okay. Got on the ball, good in the tackle, gave a couple of good shooting opportunities. Somewhere you actually, for the attributes he has of striking the ball, you think he'll do better. Another left-footed one where he forced a good save. A couple of good switches of play. Then he sort of tired a little bit, but I think he was okay. Fred was particularly poor yesterday, bless him. He's been used to like this squad role of like coming off the bench to shore things up. But now he's going to have to play like a shining role. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the fight back. And Jadon Sancho, man, I've got to give a shout out to him because
you mentioned him as soon as you walked in today.
Because I'm really happy for him. He's come through like a lot of adversity. Ten Hag basically sent him away to work on his mental health, his fitness, just take a break from football and just reset, a real reset, send back to like a grassroots club that he knows, like amateur club, and he was really, on a program back to full fitness / health. And he, the social media post he put up afterwards of bigging up the manager, the team, and the fans, and how much it meant to him when he celebrated as well. And he came on and it's not just a token gesture. He came on and changed the game. And Rashford with another goal, great header as well. Guys just having an unbelievable season. So bittersweet because arguably it's 2 points dropped, but it wasn't because we were losing 2-0.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a point gained.
It's true. You are seeing Leeds again this weekend. It is at Ellen Road. We keep kind of putting you in a title race, taking you out of title race. I put you in it the other day. I knew United fans wouldn't like that.
Some do. Some are really behind that. Some still now.
I don't think you can rule it out because when you look at Manchester City and how they've been so inconsistent for me. And I just think that there is something that's just not quite right there on and obviously off the pitch as well. Yeah. So you do have to kind of put Manchester United in that argument. But every time it seems we put United in that argument, they go and either draw or something happens.
Yeah, I'm not really in that.
I know you've always said all along you're not in a title race.
Look, obviously you can look at it mathematically and say, well, if City are, then Man United are because they're only a few points behind them. So statistically, mathematically, numerically, I get it.
Yeah.
But in terms of realistically, because for me, a race is, okay, cool, you can say the race is not finished yet, so you're technically in it. But for me, an actual race is fighting for it. Yeah. Like right next to Arsenal, and I just think we get little reminders. The last time Man United fans, we kind of, and I say we because I didn't even do it then, but I'm talking about a lot of other Man United fans. Last time we started talking about the title race and that, it was when we had Palace and Arsenal back to back, and we were like, beat Palace and then beat Arsenal, we'd be 3 points behind Arsenal. And then what happened? We drew against Palace and lost against Arsenal and got 1 point out of 6. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we go on a little run again, and then it becomes, if we win tonight, I think we go above City, we go second, but they got a game in hand. Draw against Leeds. So there's those little reminders that because we're not quite there yet. We're not, I don't think, equipped yet. You know, the players are getting a bit tired. We've got a lot of injuries. And I'm not playing a sympathy card. I'm just playing a realistic card. Like, we've got a lot to contend. We've got Wout Weghorst up front as a stopgap. Like, you know, this is no disrespect to him, but that's just where we're at. So yeah, for me, the title race thing, I get it numerically. We could finish second this year, of course.
Yeah, you
City
could.
are, you know,
you finished second with far worse sides.
Exactly. So, but the title race, I'm just a little bit refrained from.
Okay, Leeds. I mean, they will probably think they could get something off.
They will think they can beat us,
especially at home. You know, with or without a manager. Yeah. Leeds. I know they're in a bit of a dire situation at the minute.
Yeah,
but
they are.
Think they might go down? Think they'll stay up? What do you reckon?
I don't know, man. I mean, it depends who they appoint. I think they were trying to get a manager from Spain.
Yeah, from Rayo Vallecano.
Yeah, who got them up from the second division, and you know they're pushing for like maybe Champions League spaces and that. But and he's a disciple of what's his face, of Bielsa, you know, stuff like that. And I just think they've had enough of that already. That chaotic, you know, high energy, they actually need calm. They need somebody to actually get them organised.
Well, Leeds has never been a team that's defended necessarily that well.
No, exactly. Even in their pomp, when they're coming up through the leagues and eventually getting out of the Championship into the Prem. So, you know, from being neutral and not as a Man United fan who, you know, they're our rivals and I don't like Leeds. From being neutral, they need some calm. They need someone who has a bit of know-how. They needed a Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Ironically. So for me, I can't answer whether they'll go down or not because it depends on the type of appointment they make and how much they change from. Because really, Jesse Marsch calmed things down a little bit, but he was kind of a continuation on from the high press, you know, really frantic football and stuff like that. He didn't really implement a solid structure. No. Let's not get beat, let's not concede, and then go from there. And look at the type of players he's bought as well. So I don't know whether they'll go down. I still think they're going to be in a relegation battle. I do, because now I think Everton will do this. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but because I really like Sean Dyche. But in terms of that game, that is a tough game for Man United. I said it even before, because I thought we'd take care of business at home, but then when it got to the Sunday game, that's the one, and now even more so. So yeah, I'm kind of dreading that game.
What's your prediction?
Oh, mate. I don't like the look of this game at all. I'm probably being a bit pessimistic here because I should believe in us more because we are doing well, but we're looking a bit tired. Leeds running around the place, gassed. I got a bad feeling of a draw. But you know what? No, I'm going to believe in my team. I think we'll nick it 2-1. All
right, I think it's going to be a Leeds win.
Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do.
I'm just saying. Right, moving on. West Ham against Chelsea. Chelsea won their first 3 Premier League games under Graham Potter, scoring 7 goals in the process. However, since kind of that early on run, they've won just 2 of their subsequent 12.
How bad it is when you read it out like that.
I don't think there's that much pressure on Graham Potter, though. I don't.
Results change everything.
Yeah, but look at what they've just done. They've just spent an insane amount.
All right, I dare him to keep. They're not losing loads. I dare him to just lose.
You can't say this is a team at the moment.
Lose 5 on the bounce, then.
You can't say this is a team. It's not. Like they've just thrown so much money at the problem and been like, okay, like make it work. But
Agreed.
These things take time. It's transitional. You've got a lot of personalities, a lot of players going on. And I think that does take time. Plus, they gave him such a long deal, Graham Potter, that they're not going to do anything. I know it feels like he's been there a long time, but it's actually not a long time. And they've had a lot of injuries going on. Obviously, they are underperforming, Chelsea. We know that. But I still believe that Potter deserves time.
He does deserve time. But as a Premier League manager, doesn't matter whether you're at the foot of the table or the top of the table, you have to produce some sort of trade-off of results. Some sort of trade-off. Like inconsistencies of like 2 wins, then a draw, then a loss, then a win again, then a draw. That he can keep afloat because, like you said, the injuries have stacked up. There's a whole big bunch of players there that you could argue are misfits right now because they need time to gel and stuff like that. Style of play, 100% agree with all of that. But also with signing the types of players that they've signed, does come a little bit of immediate expectancy. You've been given João Felix, you've been given Mudryk. Like you've got to get a tune You've been giving Badia Shields, who's a fantastic young centre-half.
He looks a good signing.
Fofana's coming back into it. Hopefully they get Reece James back in Chilwell. Like, once these players become available, even for, it won't be perfect, but you got to give me some wins. You got to stabilise us. You can't go into free fall in terms of. I know Chelsea fans pretty much, and I agree. From outside looking in, they should kind of write off the season. Like, I know you shouldn't say that, but
it's not the first time Chelsea have had a season they've had to write off.
Because to go forward, they're going to need that. That's not my gripe. My gripe isn't if he doesn't get them to Europe or top 4. It's just I get it. They're what, they 10th or whatever it is, 9th, something like that. I understand that, but he still can't be 15th. Like, there's a cut-off point. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I think
he could get sacked if it got real bad.
I don't think they're going to finish below 10th. I'll be honest with you. I think that they probably will pick up some form. Reece James coming back, Chilwell, I guess. I think that we will see a better second half of the season. I do.
Do I think there'll be a better second half? I think just more inconsistencies, but I agree with they won't go into free fall.
No.
Because what will happen? Because what can happen is, and this is worst case scenario, Chelsea fans. I'll talk best case scenario. Worst case scenario is, like I said, they just go on this run where he just keeps losing. Imagine that happens. I'm not saying that's going to, but if that does, it's like, okay, no, we might have to pull the gap.
But I think that's unlikely.
But exactly, I think they would just do this and their season would just peter out at like 8th or something like that.
Something like that. But they have had worse seasons.
Yes.
Want to just quickly look at West Ham because somehow David Moyes is still there.
He's finding a way to fight.
He is. I mean, the past few weeks they've managed to get a result, I guess, against Everton a few weeks back. That was the El Sacco one we were talking about. Newcastle.
It's tough games. Actually.
They are tough games, and they have come out not too bad in those games. How much longer do you think David Moyes has? Because now Sean Dyche is at Everton. Who, if they do go ahead and they 100%. Do sack him, who's the right person to come in at West Ham?
Oh, that's a good question. Graham Potter, if he gets sacked at Chelsea. They need to go in a kind of different direction. Someone who plays attacking football. I look at some of the players West Ham have actually got.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're being a bit wasted. It was similar to when I look at Villa. When they had Gerrard, and it was like you look at the squad and you're like, there's some good players in there, man. If you get someone to get them organised and get them on the front foot, they should be producing way better than this.
I agree with you.
So I think West Ham are a similar ilk, even though they're worse, obviously, than Villa. I don't know who could come in to there. I mean, Pochettino, I couldn't see.
That's just not even
doing
a question,
that. That's just never going to happen.
Give the guy some respect.
So, Gerrard or Lampard?
Well, honestly, West Ham fans in the chat, let us
Gerrard
know.
Or Lampard?
Would you be happy to see a Gerrard or a Lampard? What should be next?
But to answer your question just quickly on that about how long will David Moyes have? I think he's another mini row away, another mini string of bad results away. So like a couple losses.
Oh, I agree with you. I think he's just kind of bought himself.
He's just hanging on by a thread.
Yeah,
hanging on by a thread.
Right, prediction for that game, please.
Having said that, draw. Yeah.
Oh, I think that Chelsea have got to start turning it around.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you think it's there?
Well, if not, I think it'll be against Tottenham the following few weeks after.
That'd be good.
No, it wouldn't, Flex. No, it wouldn't. That's really hostile.
All right, I want another draw there then.
Okay, let's go for... I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win.
Okay.
On that one. I think Potter will turn it around soon. Right, Bournemouth, Newcastle. Newcastle again, a tiny little stutter.
Dropping off a little bit.
Dropping off a
Pressure's
tiny bit.
getting to them, the high intensity of games.
They've had 10 draws in 21 games. It's a lot of games, but they are still in the top 4. They still look good. Do you honestly think Newcastle can make the top 4? Or do you think that maybe just the squad isn't
Newcastle will make
enough?
Europe.
Okay, yeah, Europe, yes.
They will make Europe.
Though.
And when you speak to Newcastle fans, I was speaking to one yesterday actually, just the buzz about the place and how happy they are to be in that Carabao Cup final against Man United, which I know that's a different
Do you think they're going to win that?
That's massive pressure.
Do you think they're going to win it?
Who, Newcastle?
Yeah. Oh, you're a little bit nervous,
of course I'm going to say I don't think they're going to win. It's my team. I think we're going to win. But that is a flipping
You didn't
hard
say that with
game.
your chest, though.
I think we're going to win.
You didn't
but
say
it's
that
a
with your
hard
chest.
game. Do you think Tottenham are going to win anything this season?
Don't worry about it. Mind your business.
But, no, Newcastle... If you ask Newcastle fans, and we might say, well, you're crazy, they would rather win the Carabao Cup than get into Champions League.
Yeah.
Because, they haven't won anything in over 20-odd years. Longer, actually, I think.
Longer. They're just so excited to
be there. And actually, when you look at where Newcastle are at, they are overachieving, and I just feel like they will get top 6. So for them to just make sure they're in Europa League, even if it's Conference League.
But to be fair, I think that if
block.
you'd have said to Newcastle fans at the beginning of the season, with your first real season with money and this kind of progress that they've got, if you can finish in the top 6, I mean, they'll be over the moon at that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Top 4 is an absolute bonus, but we know that they're here to stay in terms of cementing themselves in that kind of big 6 conversation.
100%, they've not gone away.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham are 1 point behind them now.
It's getting close.
It is getting close. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend. Bournemouth, on the other hand, they are 19th in the table. They've lost their last 3. I mean, just looking at their form table, they actually haven't had a win in the last 5. They've had 1 draw in that time. So Bournemouth, I mean, do you think that they're destined to go down?
It's looking that way, isn't it? I think Forest have done really well at stabilising themselves, actually, and kind of getting away from that pack. Wolves, a couple of good results, trying to build. They smashed Liverpool last game, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then you look at Bournemouth, just stagnating. Everton now got a new manager, and they're going to look to push on. Southampton are dire as well. So out of that bottom batch of teams, Leeds are going to go through a transition now, maybe try and change their fortune. You're looking at Bournemouth and like I'm saying, at Everton as well. So you're looking at Bournemouth and Southampton as the ones maybe being left behind out of that bottom pack. Because,
I mean, it's so tight. I mean,
and West Ham to be potentially dragged in instead of Everton.
Yeah, it is really, really tight. I mean, Southampton at the bottom on 15 points. And just to give you some context, Wolves are 15th in the table on 20 points. So there's literally 5 points between it.
Yeah, it's really, really
tight.
To
win in a couple of draws, essentially. So.
And the pressure starts getting, when they see one team pull out, because this is what I think forever. I honestly think Sean Dyche's going to keep them up. I love Sean Dyche.
I think he will as well.
And I think they'll start moving up towards 15th.
And also, if you look at Nottingham Forest, they've done a really good job. They've pulled themselves out of it.
Yeah,
really,
but
really
then a few bad results. It can change. Leicester aren't completely out of the woods.
No,
either.
Leicester are not. We're going to talk about Leicester shortly. All right, what is your prediction, please, for Bournemouth Newcastle?
Newcastle 2, Bournemouth 0.
Okay.
I think Newcastle will get off that little string of dodgy draws and
I think so too. I think I might just go with a 3-1.
Okay.
3-1 Newcastle.
Yeah.
Right, looking at Leicester, who you just
game,
touched on, they picked up their first Premier League win since their competition resumed after the World Cup last week.
Big win against Villa. I didn't see that coming.
4-2. It was an odd
crazy
one.
game. Yeah.
Little derby as well. Leicester, again, we kind of mentioned that we're not too. I don't think Leicester are going to go down. Do you think?
They should just be all right, because I think the classic cliche of there's 3 teams worse than them.
Yeah,
but
there's definitely 3
they're
teams.
going to be not too far away from it. But
reasons,
I think they'll be all right.
There's reasons why, I guess, Leicester have been in this situation.
Yes,
I think COVID was a massive issue with what's happened with them. But we know the chairman is fully committed. He paid off a lot of debts to them a few weeks ago, and I think that maybe we'll see a change in their fortunes. Tottenham, on the other hand, I mean, win against Manchester City, you can always trust Tottenham to beat City at home. It's absolutely bizarre, this kind of form and run.
Just new.
They've never scored a goal at the Tottenham Stadium.
Arsenal, mate. Honestly, I know we're not talking about Arsenal right now, but this is why it's destined, man. Even when it went bad for them against Everton, next game Tottenham got to play City.
See, I'm
Harry Kane does it. Gets the goal record, helps out Arsenal at the same time.
Yeah,
it's written, man.
That was
this trophy's is Arsenal's. I'm telling you.
I think so as well. I mean, the more this is going on, the more things I'm seeing, the more I'm handing in my
noses.
Fair
play to them.
I mean, there's a question here to say, are Spurs fans more positive about this season after what they saw against Manchester?
I don't think it might just be that. I mean, obviously new signing as well.
Yeah.
But I think there's a long way to go for you to kind of change your whole thing.
I mean, look,
actually, annually, you always do that. See.
Yeah,
so really, that's the same.
For me, it's no different. We do. We always have that result of Manchester City at home anyway. Look, everyone knows, I say this week in and week out, I'm a little bit over them at the moment. Like, I've just kind of lost my love for Tottenham.
Harry Kane, no, doing
yeah,
that.
I love Harry Kane, don't get me wrong, but I'm sick of being let down. I'm sick of being disappointed, and I can't believe it's only taken, 29 years for me to get to this point. But I just am very resigned. Like, of course, I want to finish in the top 4. I think if we're going to keep Harry Kane for another season, or, take him into that, free transfer era, or if we can get him to sign a new contract, whatever. I think that's really important for us. Do I think we could have a cup run? Potentially. I'd like to see us have a cup run. I think that bringing in Pedro Porro is a good signing, but I need to see more. I can't base...
Yeah, you can't just judge it off
I can't judge it off of City. I thought they played well against City.
Because this is the sort of game where Tottenham actually can go back to being Tottenham.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So you got to wait. Yeah.
Well, we need to start picking up some form. We've got Leicester this weekend, we've got West Ham, I think, the following week, and then we've got Chelsea. So I think, that kind of question, ask me about that at the beginning of March.
Games,
and let's see where we go. But at the moment, the jury is still out. Also, there's no Hugo Lloris. He is out for 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh. And you don't have a backup. You've got Fraser
Forster. I mean, I was reading something this morning. DR were mentioning that apparently we might be trying to tempt Ben Foster out of retirement. I mean, he's 39 years old.
I think he would take that as well,
I'm sure he would take it.
I think he would take that. It's local.
But this is kind of my thing. Again, with forward planning from Tottenham, just in case. And actually, to be fair, Lloris has been awful. I mean, he had.
I was going to say, it might not be a bad thing he's out, mate.
He had a fairly decent game on Sunday, but again, he's been terrible.
No,
there's no forward planning in terms of.
Basically, there hasn't been much difference between him and Fraser Forster.
No, I mean, Fraser Forster's barely played, but I wouldn't say one's better than the other. So it could be a fortunate thing because Lloris has cost us in many games this season. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see. But I need to see Tottenham start picking up points, playing with kind of some conviction, and I'm just not sold on it yet. Not sold.
Tottenham, it's just too. You can't after one game say, oh look, Tottenham beat City.
Because for me, Manchester City are not Manchester City at the moment. So
they're not. And like I said, and like we both said, every year, like I said, they haven't scored a goal there. Yeah. Even Pep was feeling sorry for himself, saying how long it is to get there and all that shit.
Yeah, traffic's mad.
Traffic is like going to Northern Europe or whatever he said, or Southern Europe, whatever he said. But do you know what I mean? They find it difficult going there.
Do.
That happens every year.
Yeah.
Leicester. I've been a bit surprised with them in the last game. Actually, I couldn't. I just.
I think this has got a draw all over it. Don't you remember last season for Stephen Bergwijn? We were 2-1 down.
Yeah, and hunt for top four. Yeah, the last kick of the game.
Literally scored 2 goals within 2 minutes, and Stephen Bergwijn with the winner.
I remember watching. I think, how typical Spurs? How
typical? So untypical.
Yeah, because you always just.
It's so untypical.
Even this season, it's been that whole 2-0 down or 1-0 down, 70th minute, and start playing, come back and win.
I'm just over.
But even that's run out a bit.
It's run out.
Yeah, I like the sound of a draw.
I think this could be like a 2-2, 1-0.
1-1, I'll go with.
Yeah, I'm going to match you. On that. Moving on, Manchester City against Aston Villa. Unai Emery has never beaten Pep Guardiola in 12 previous meetings, though he's drawn 4 and he's lost 8. Man City, it's been a very difficult week for them off the pitch, on the back of that defeat to Tottenham. Do you think this is going to affect them this weekend?
Not the stuff going on off the pitch. Pep Guardiola's Pep Guardiola.
Well, you say that. Last year, everyone was saying about Chelsea, everything going off the pitch was affecting them.
Yeah, not Man City. They're serial winners.
They need to get back to winning.
Yeah, exactly. What will hinder them is just what has been hindering them just throughout the season. I don't think it'll be extra because of everyone wants them kicked out of the league.
What is the problem at Manchester City? Tell me.
You can talk about players leaving like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, right? And Sterling. And sometimes when you bring in the next batch of players and refresh, that dynasty, sometimes it doesn't always work how you think it would. I think Haaland, I know the new debate is, has he joined the wrong team sort of thing? Because there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can look at it like, how can he? That's such a stupid question. He's got 21 goals already, or whatever it is. But sometimes it isn't always about just goals, because a team playing to the best of their ability doesn't mean that one sole person is the top scorer so that the team is better for it. You could argue that if Haaland wasn't there, that the goals, well, not argue, the facts are when he wasn't there, their goals were more evenly distributed throughout the team.
Absolutely.
And they played in a different way. So whilst he's been in rich form and taking the mick out of the league and scoring a lot of goals, would you say that City play with the same fluidity, the same fluency, the same build-up? No. Would you say that Haaland is massively involved in games and they play through him? No. Is he that type of striker anyway? Probably not. But so you could say there's a clash of styles stylistically, even though the guy's got 21 goals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's what's been a bit of a problem. And certain other players like, João Cancelo, obviously now gone, but that, just kind of dropped his level a little bit. It's been difficult for Jack Grealish still to find a form of consistency. Phil Foden.
Yeah.
Phil Foden, I think since coming back from the World Cup, hasn't really lit it up. And a few injuries as well, where Stones has been out, then Diaz, and then they've had to play Akanji and Ake, and then Ake's got to go left back, and when usually they had Zinchenko to come in, and look what he's doing. So I think it's a culmination of all those things that Pep himself talks about. That every 3 or 4 years, I think when he done an interview with Rio, he said, "How many titles did you win at Man United?" And he's like, "Did you have the same team every time?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Exactly. Every sort of 3 or 4 years, you've got to keep it refreshed," and I think they're just going through that a little bit, where Arsenal, I've got it nailed on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, my opinion and view on Haaland, it was just kind of from watching, obviously, the game on Sunday and looking at it like from a different viewpoint. Like, he was making the runs in the box at the right timing, but the ball wasn't being put in the box for him. And I think that's where you mentioned, like, stylistically about Manchester City, they're so used to with the build up and the passing, patient.
Direct,
patient. But Haaland's got the pace. If you put the ball where he wants the ball, he's going to score. And obviously we've seen that this season, he can do that. But I just think that maybe it's just adapting to what he wants.
Yeah.
Also with the kind of style that Manchester City have always had. And spreading that play. They're now playing with a target man. And
that he scored that many goals, but this can be the conversation. You would argue that, well, he's arguably been the best signing, because then look what he's going to smash the record. He's going to do this. He's going to score 50 goals this year. Remember, that was the talk before. And now, 4 months later, has he signed for the wrong team? That's how crazy
I definitely don't think he's signed for the wrong team. I just think this is a very big transition. And I think that, I've said it before, I think they were a little bit too quick maybe to sell Zinchenko and to sell Jesus and Sterling. I think that maybe had they have been able to sit on it for another year and integrate, and how they have done loads of times with loads of different signings, and gradually put Haaland in, or integrate him in that way, but still have your plan B, I think maybe that we wouldn't be looking at City how we're looking at them
those
now.
Sales again coupled with player drop-offs, so like Bernardo Silva not been quite the
Foden.
Same. Kyle Walker.
Yeah, Kyle Walker.
Kyle Walker's catching up. Yeah, I mean he's a legend, arguably the best right back there's been in the league history, up there with, I know this sounds silly in terms of man for man, but up there with Gary Neville in terms of legacy, what he's done. Up there with one of the best.
Cole,
I've another fullback, Ashley Cole. He's up there with one of the best fullbacks ever to play in the league, and that recovery pace that he always has, and that it looks a little like he's not at his top level.
Lost a little yard.
Exactly.
Right, Aston Villa though, again, they lost last weekend at home. They're going to want to try and get back on some type of form. What do you reckon? Score for me.
It's hard. You just don't know what you're going to get with City, do you? Sometimes.
No. You'd hope they're going to do something.
I'll back them to bounce back against Villa.
Okay.
Tight though. I think 2-1.
I think this is a City win. I think it might be just like a 1-0.
Yeah,
1-0
so you think
late.
The margin as well? Okay.
Yeah, all right. Arsenal against Brentford. Obviously, I say high flying. They did lose to Everton last weekend. Yep. They've lost their last 2 games in all competitions, as many as they had in their previous 21. But they are a different outfit, aren't they? I would assume Arsenal are going to get back on track at home. But Brentford are actually having a great season.
Listen, let's put some respect on Brentford. They are flying.
7th in the table.
100%. Everyone was waxing lyrical about Fulham, and they're above them.
Unbeaten in their last
Brighton.
5, yeah.
Yeah, Brentford are in really, really good form, and that will be a difficult task for Arsenal. One, I think they'll get past though, and I think Arsenal, they suffered a little blip against Everton, out-fought. They got outdone by Sean Dyche, his team, and they just weren't at the races, were they? Arsenal fans were quite disappointed with that result. I saw what Lee Judges was saying. He said, I thought performances like that for Arsenal were in the past.
Yeah.
But they're not perfect. They can't win every game. There's no need to panic. And then Spurs go and do that, and then it's as you were anyway. So it's like, for them, they get another lifeline. And this is what I mean about the handling the emotions and the roller coasters.
I hate that helped them. I hate it.
It did directly. It really did.
It's so annoying.
It really did, yeah.
So
but what can you do?
Nothing.
You've got to win your games, Sorry. Yeah, but I expect them to bounce back and pick up where they left off. If they don't, then, they're starting to falter a little bit.
Yeah.
But I expect them to bounce back.
I would think so too. But put some respect on Thomas Frank and Brentford.
What a job he's doing.
He's
they
so
can
good.
give us. They can get a draw. They can
give
not
Arsenal
get beat
a game.
there.
Yeah.
100%.
Even if they get a draw.
They won at Man City away.
Yeah.
Earlier in this season,
Yeah.
you know, they smashed Man United 4-1.
Drew with Tottenham. It's, you know,
they are a
give you a
good
game.
team. So Arsenal can't take them easy, but that's the thing. They won't after that level of performance against Everton. And now this game's back at home. Mikel Arteta, I think, has that group of players completely tuned in to say, that's not what we do.
Yeah.
That was Arsenal of last season. Go out there and fix that.
Yeah, I agree,
We're
especially in front of home fans.
Exactly.
All right, prediction for that game?
3-1 Arsenal.
Okay. I'll sit on the fence. I'll go with the draw.
Yeah, you just want that to happen, don't
I'm
you?
hopeful.
Yeah.
Hopeful. Liverpool-Everton. We have a Merseyside derby this weekend. Everton are looking to win consecutive Premier League games for the second time this season. I mean, that's a massive win for them last week. Huge.
Massive.
Huge. And I knew that was going to happen. It was one of those things where I had a sneaky feeling.
New manager bounce,
I thought Sean Dyche is going to do something here. He really is. Liverpool, on the other hand, are just in dire form at the minute, aren't they?
Freefall, yeah.
They really are. That loss to Wolves last week, 3-0. I mean, they were just...
I think when you listen to Klopp in his post-match thoughts after that game, you know, sort of be like, I don't know what's going on, basically. He said, basically, I know I have to fix this. You want me to come on here and say everything's all right, and everything's not all right. You know, when Klopp's rattled, like not just reporter rattled, like rattled about the team.
Yeah.
And it's very, I'm not even going to say uncharacteristic that they got smashed 3-0, because that, you know, happened to them at Brighton. They've been on the receiving end of some bad results. And I just think they are going through they need to go through such a big transition. I look at Naby Keita, never been good enough in my opinion. Poor. James Milner, past it now. Henderson, dwindling. Fabinho, overgassed, not good anymore. Simple. Thiago looks neat and tidy, does the warm-up where he keeps the ball up and smashes balls on the volley in the nice, put the foot on top of the ball, roll it, zing it out there, left, right. But ultimately, I don't think he's... I think if their to be fair to Thiago, actually, if their midfield was sorted a bit better, he could be the cherry on top. But when it's not,
it's too old, it's too overrun.
Exactly. And Robertson's not the same anymore. No. Trent's getting ruined every game.
This is the thing.
Gakpo has come in, not hit the ground running. Darwin Núñez. The list goes on.
It's when cycles end, and I think that you can't just sometimes it takes a while to rebuild a new cycle.
They need a transfer window.
Yeah, and we'll see what's going to happen with that. I mean, obviously they brought in Cody Gakpo. I think they would have been better set to go for a midfielder in January, but
Liverpool fans were happy that they stole him off Man United, and now look.
They did what they did.
How's that going?
I know that Liverpool fans are very much behind Klopp. I mean,
and they should be.
Yeah, and they should be. If, for example, Everton beat Liverpool in this derby,
imagine that.
Do you think
Sean
there would be
walking across going like that with his collars up in the cold?
In the cold.
I love Sean Dyche.
Do you think
in a shirt, no jacket?
Do you think there would be a shift? What would it take? What would it take for there to be a shift?
You know, my honest opinion, I don't like categorising fans, but I think any real Liverpool fan who really adores Klopp like they should, I think we see this out with him.
I agree.
If we capitulate, we capitulate. If we finish eighth, we finish eighth. We trust Jurgen Klopp to sort this out in the summer. Their club's in the process of being sold as well. With everything Klopp has done for that football club, he deserves the chance at the shot of a rebuild. This is the first time Liverpool have had serious adversity for like what? How long have they been good for?
7 years? 6 years, 7 years, yeah.
Where they've been competing for every single trophy. They've won every single trophy, and they've always given it a good go, with Man City going head-to-head and giving us some of the most exciting games the Premier League's seen in recent years. And that's coming from a Man United fan. So I think that, personally, a loss against Everton, it will hurt, it will be horrible, it will be toxic on the day. And it almost, not inconceivable, because look how badly they've been doing. But even if they draw, it will be seen as what's going on here, we can't win, etc., etc. But I just think, like I said, the proper thoroughbred Liverpool fans and the respect that Klopp deserves, there's only a few managers that get given buys.
Yeah.
And he's one of them, for me. Only because this is the first time since he's built a new version of Liverpool that all of the Liverpool fans can be excited about, and given them all their memories. This is the first time that he needs the fans, like in adversity when it's going wrong. And I think they should stick with him and be patient. And it's going to hurt more, and we're going to laugh more. And I am, as a Man United fan, I'm going to love every minute of it. But the bigger picture of it is, if you're a Liverpool fan, I think, is to just bite down on the gum shield and just support your manager, trust that your club is going to make the right decisions, and you're going to come out better for it.
All right, what's your score prediction?
Everton 2, Liverpool 0.
Oh my goodness!
Nah,
you said that with your whole chest as well.
I think Everton will make it difficult. I see a draw, you know.
I can see this.
I can see a draw. Yeah, I can see a draw. Sean Dyche will have them so organised, well drilled.
I've done a lot of draws today, actually. I've said there's a lot.
Yeah,
but I think this. I don't know. I don't want to lean this one way or another. I'm going to go with the draw.
Yeah, I'll go with the draw.
All right, let's rattle through quickly the last few. Crystal Palace, Brighton. Brighton have been brilliant. Only Arsenal have won more Premier League games away this season than Brighton, which is 5 on the road. Nottm, banging form, just brilliant. They don't look like they missed Trossard. What do you reckon?
Brighton 2, Palace 1. Just so strong. Yeah, losing their best players and always managing to keep rebuilding teams. They've kept Alexis McAllister after the World Cup, which there wasn't even any serious thing of him.
They kept Casado.
Kept Casado right down to the wire. The guy even shamelessly putting up Instagram posts saying, "Let me go. I'll be so proud to be the record signing. You can use all this money to reinvest without me, mate. Hold your corner and wait. Keep your mouth shut." But they'll reintegrate him back in. Lost Trossard, but obviously that was a manufactured thing. They knew they was going to lose him. It broke down, which I was really surprised about. One of their best players.
Hasn't looked like it's bothered them though.
They've just been fantastic. So yeah, I've got a lot of respect for them. Brighton, so I think they'll beat Palace.
Okay, Southampton, Wolves. Wolves are going to be on a high from last week's win.
Absolutely. Again, these are weird games to call when they're down the bottom of the area of the table.
Oh, there's so much pressure on Nathan. Jones.
And his his post-match against who they lose against last game, was it? I can't remember who it was against. I can't remember their last game. Whoever they lost against, I watched his post-match presser, and he was just saying weird things. Like he was like, you know, when I was at Luton. I swear to you, he said, when I was at Luton, there wasn't many in Europe better than us, better than me. You know, if you're talking about XGs and with what the team, you know, what we'd spent on the team versus the XG and what we were getting out of the team. I get what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
But mate, you're at the foot of the table and you're losing game in, game out.
You can't be
Don't be acting like you're some Billy Big Bollocks, like putting yourself up there with Pep.
They just haven't gelled with him at all, the fans. It looked like they turned a little bit of a corner after a few cup wins. It looks a little bit happier. But this is not going well.
When I was on Saturday Social a few months ago, they said, like, we had to do signing. Who should, and I said, Sean Dyche. What they need is actually get rid of Nathan Jones and get Sean Dyche. And the people are like, that's a bit harsh. He's only just got there.
Well, the ship has sailed. Ship has sailed.
Yeah, exactly.
Ship sailed.
Wolves win.
Yeah, I agree with you. Wolves win. I mean, I think Nathan Jones could actually be sacked. Potentially.
If they lose, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Right, and Fulham, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. Forest are resurgent, actually. They're actually playing okay. I know we beat them up quite quickly. You know, it's like 5-0 over 2 legs. You know, 3-0 in the first, 2-0 in the second, and then. But they have been better. I think Steve Cooper's done a real good job when he looked like he was on his last legs.
But do you know what? They start with him, and
they give him that back in, and they still give him more players in January.
I know.
Kayla Navas actually made great saves the other day.
They deserve to stick with him.
Yeah, they do, and fair play to him. But Fulham again. You're talking about Brighton and waxing lyrical about them. You're talking about Brentford and waxing lyrical about them. What about the season that Fulham are having, especially at home as well? So,
I mean, to be fair, they did kind of nearly lose yesterday. I mean, it was 3-2 against Sunderland in that FA Cup 4th round replay. But they were 2-0 up. They were 2-0 up Fulham, and then it kind of. It could have gone either way. So I know it's one of those cup games.
In the league, they've been solid, and at the cottage they've been solid as well. But that's an interesting game. I'm going to go a slender Fulham win 1-0.
Oh, slender. Okay, well that is everything for this week. It's been nice to have you back. Thank you for joining us.
Don't know when I'll next be back. You know.
Well.
Got to go Barcelona, you know.
We have a big week of Champions League football next week.
And Europa League.
Yeah, sorry, forgot about it. Yeah.
You'll be in it next year, so you'll get used to it.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend. Good luck to all of your teams, and we will see you next week.